Okay, so I had a bit of an idea for a video I wanted to record. It's kind of on a spur, so I just wrote like some notes, have them up on the side, and maybe playing some background footage from a scrim I played the other day. But yeah, the topic of what I wanted to discuss today is coaching new players, new to the scene, new to competitive, towards the lower end of the skill curve, right? I believe that coaching newer players or having newer players have a coach is a bit of a dangerous thing. Not, I think dangerous is a strong word, but it can be negative. It can be extremely negative a lot of the time. Now, why I believe it's dangerous is, well, first you have to set up like some context, right? Newer players, no matter how many hours they have, right, like in the game, a new player to competitive could have 3,000 hours, they could have 1,000 hours, they could have 500 hours, right? There's a lot of skill variety and playtime variety amongst newer competitive players, right? So that's the first thing. Upon that, it's also important to know that until someone set their mind on improving at something, they won't think about improving at something, they won't think too deeply about the thing they're improving at until, like, actually until, like, that mindset has come to fruition for them, right? So the person with 3,000 hours could be less invested into the game on an improvement, like, improvement-wise, than someone with 500 hours, right? And the 500-hour player will be will have a more mature opinion about the game and about its like workings than the person with 3,000 hours, right? So newer players, when they enter competitive, have just started that. Like, they just started that process of wanting to form their own opinion about the game. They're just playing the game as they see it right to be, and it's dangerous to introduce a coach at that point because coaches usually have a more mature opinion about the game, right? They usually have spent lots of time thinking about the game. They have their own opinions that some may disagree with, some may agree with, and only really express it a lot of the time to people who have other mature opinions about the game, right? And they, like, you know, and they like the other people with the other mature opinions, they don't really take what the other what the coach is saying and say, oh yeah, that's just gospel now, right? They normally, like, you know, take what they say and say, oh, that's interesting to think about, but they still have their own opinion, right? Newer players don't have that opinion yet. It's well, they really can't have that opinion. Like, it's not safe for all of them, right? Some of them may have a high opinion of the game. There's like a 3k XP player who is like new to competitive and only has like, I don't know, like estimates themselves like Div 5 or something, right? Whatever. But the newer players, generally speaking, don't have a mature opinion about the game. And therefore introducing someone with a mature opinion can sort of brainwash them into playing how they don't want to in the game, right? Or implementing things that they don't yet understand. Like, if a coach is telling a team to play more patient or play back more, what does that mean for the newer players? It means, oh, I'm going to bomb spam, right? What, when to someone who has a more mature opinion of the game and understands what they're trying to say, the person with a more mature opinion on the game will hear that, like, play more passive and play back more and be like, oh, I need to gather more information before I do something, right? That's not implied when you're talking to the newer players. And shout out Echo for that analogy. That was, I like that one, so I stole it. But yeah, the consequences of this, right? The consequences of a coach being introduced so early and trying to not intentionally trying to force their own opinion on the new players, but unintentionally having their opinion forced on new players, is that the newer players may have the wrong ideas about the game, right? they may have, like, for me personally, I was told that X rank doesn't matter. That's a complete lie now. Now that I've like it, now that I've spent a long time thinking about the game and actually playing X rank myself, I'm like, no, there's benefit in it. You know, there's a lot of benefit in playing solo queue. Like, I'm seeing improvement in myself by playing solo queue. The background footage you're seeing right now is that of a high level OC scrim, which a few months ago, a month ago, I was not able to perform well in. But now I'm like putting up quite a decent fight in most of these games, right? Because I've been playing more solo queue, I've been like pushing my own limits, I've been pushing my understanding of the game a lot. Like, that's the kind of thing you want to happen, right? You don't want your players to have these preconceived opinions put onto them that they don't even understand, right? When I was told that X rank doesn't matter, it was from people who, sorry to say, were really bad at X rank, right? And they, you know, and they didn't want to play X rank. They don't want to be responsible for their own improvement. So they just said, "Oh, X rank is bad," right? So yeah, that's why I think it's dangerous. It can give the wrong opinions on things. Players can have unintentionally the wrong opinions themselves, but believe it to be correct because they heard it from their coach, right? Now I want to talk about, like, how do you correct that, or how do you correct that style of coaching, right? Where instead of the coach placing their own opinions on other players, what if instead you let them find their own opinion and just sort of correct them a bit, right? What I mean by that is, like, let's say you have a new team, right? And they are VOD reviewing. What if the coach isn't the main person talking in that VOD review, but it's the players talking amongst themselves, right? The players are talking about, I feel like we struggle with fighting together. What's that about? And then they'll come up with a solution, and then the coach will be like, you know what? I really like that solution, but it has a flaw here, and it has a flaw here. So maybe try correct that flaw. They don't have to give the answer to that flaw, or like how to correct it. They just need to point it out, right? And the players can think about it. Oh, why is it a flaw? You know, maybe they play a scrim and they don't fix it, but they just want to see why it's a flaw, and then they see, oh, it's a flaw because we're not doing XYZ correctly. You know what? I felt a hole in ABC area, right? That's the that's the mentality you want to be pushing onto the newer players, because think about it, a coach wouldn't be a coach if they didn't think about the game. There would be more coaches in the scene and more adept coaches, more capable coaches if these people were thinking about the game, right? If we got people to start thinking about the game, got people to start playing X rank and all that, just all these things together make what I'm trying to describe here, right? So instead of being a coach, what if instead the person who's supposed to be the coach of the team is instead just more of a corrector? They just let the opinion, let the team have their own opinion, but they just talk about the game with them, right? They're just like friends with them, literally. They're just like the coach is literally just their friend, right? That's my idea on how you can correct it. And just to wrap up here, because I don't want to yap for too long, I also want to talk about how players can form their own mature opinions, right? Because I didn't have my own opinions and my own evidence-based and in my own experience opinions until recently. It's quite simply just play the game. It's so easy to form your own opinion on this game and put a positive opinion on the game when you just play the game. Play X rank, play scrims, mainly play solo queue though. That's a big thing. Don't focus on competitive too much, especially as a newer player, because then your brain is going to become absolutely mind washed with team-based environments, right? You want to have a good balance of solo queue and team-based. Team-based, when you practice in team-based, it's as if you're one game in a team-based environment, I feel has similar weight to what 2 or 3 X rank games would have, right? in terms of like improvement in that like section of the game, right? You play 3 X rank games, and like I feel like X rank, you have to figure things out by yourself, which is a bit daunting, and like improving an X rank is a bit harder, which is why I say like it's worth the wait of like 3 X rank games worth the wait of 1 team-based game, because the team can kind of talk to each other, but you're only talking to yourself, if that makes sense. Anyway, yeah. So just form your own mature opinion, and yeah, like just play the game, enjoy the game for what it is, right? That's about all I have to say. I think it's important to talk about these things, like, because it's not the most talked about in this community, like, and I think it should be more talked about. Like, newer players are getting fucked over because people aren't treating them as newer players. They're treating them as if like they've been in this game for like 2 years already or something, right? Or been in the same for 2 years. But yeah, that's my rant for today, and yeah, see you possibly next week, maybe, I don't know. Bye.